What up YouTube, Jordan Runner Racing back for another video today, and today we're throwing the 180 Tstat in the Charger. Alright guys, yes, today throwing the 180 Tstat in the Charger Hellcat, hoping to get some more power and cool down the engine temp, have the coolant head over to the radiator when it gets to 180 degrees instead of 203 degrees. So I will show you the new thermostat that we're throwing in. Oh yeah, looks exactly like the stock one. Yeah, so this one's a 180 Tstat. So how it works is the engine heats up the coolant that is running around the engine block. Once it gets to 203 degrees right now, the thermostat opens up and that coolant heads over to the radiator to be cooled down and then go back to the engine to help it keep cool. Now we're gonna throw a 180 degree thermostat in there so that when the coolant in the engine gets to 180 degrees, it heads over to the radiator and cools it down. Obviously, the cooler we can keep the engine, the more power we can make and the healthier the engine will be. So yeah, it's actually a really easy install, just a couple 13mm bolts. Pop the new thermostat in there. We're gonna lose a little bit of coolant, but we've kept the car parked for about 2 days now, so most of that coolant should be in the block and not in the hoses, but there will be some left over, so we're gonna put a little plastic bag to catch it, pour it back into the coolant reservoir, and start it up, make sure it's good to go. So let's go to the car, get it done. So yeah, as you can see, no beasts here today, but we do have the Honda Fit. I have no idea what year. 2007 Honda Fit, guys. We got fire content coming at you today. No, but this is what we have to ride in when my cars are out and about. So yeah, the red eyes with Alex still. The Charger's over at Amber's parents' house. So yeah, let's go switch that thermostat up. All right, guys, made it out to the beast. We got out of the Honda Fit. Thank goodness. Anyway, she's here all cooled down. Now we are going to get into here and take off these two 13mm bolts right here. We're gonna put our little plastic bag underneath here. Wow, it is nice and cool, feels great. We're gonna put our little plastic bag under here and our rag so that we catch any of the coolant that comes out, hopefully not too much. Yeah, swap out the thermostats, then we're going to pour our extra coolant that came out back into here. But for now, we want to keep this tight because that's what's going to keep the coolant from just falling out of the whole system. It's kind of like when you hold the top of a straw and the water stays in it. If you take your finger off the top of that straw, all that water comes out, right? So yeah, we're going to set up our bag. We use a little tape to keep it in there and open because we don't want it falling down in there once the coolant gets in there. So yeah, let's set it up. All right guys, so we're setting up our plastic bag, just a gallon Ziploc bag that we typically use. We're gonna put tape on either side and kind of tape it open. Number one is to keep it open so the coolant gets in there, but once the coolant is in the bag, it's gonna be a little heavy. I don't want it to fly down into the engine bay, so try and tape it in there nicely. Alright guys, so we got our bag all set up in here. We got it taped here, here, and to the front to kind of just spread it up and make sure it holds up there. We're going to try one more time, make sure this is tight. Okay, we don't want that loose at all. Now we're going to pop it open. See what happens. So yeah, we're going to come in here just with the regular attachment on the top bolt. On the bottom bolt, we might need our extension, we might not. Not positive, but yeah. we're hoping for a quick mod today. You never really know with cars, but so far so good. And we've done all the proper letting the engine sit for 2 days. You know, if you do it while the car is hot, there will be coolant all up in this hose and in the radiator, and it should just splash everywhere like crazy. But you let the car sit, shouldn't be too much left in these hoses, you know? Okay, so here's bolt number 1. Put that over there. And okay. I'm really hoping for not too much to come out, but we shall see. Alright guys, so we got the second bolt loosened up.
You sure?
I thought we had the second bolt loosened up. There we go.
Just kidding.
Alright, we'll put that on the right side. We'll put the same bolts back in the same spots. Okay. So this should just wiggle off. Ooh, there's our coolant splash right there. See? And our handy dandy bag caught it beautifully.
Nice. Didn't pop off.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna get a rag, or my lovely girlfriend's gonna get a rag.
Sense that coming.
Yeah. Thank you, beautiful.
Aww.
And I'm gonna have this hose sit on the rag right up here.
Aw.
And I can show you guys the stock thermostat right here. So as you can see, this little breather valve up here at the top, that's where the air bubbles get out. So you want to make sure that's at 12 o'clock. Okay, so we're just gonna pop it out, and some more coolant should actually come out when we do that. Let's see. Ooh, that sucker's stuck in there, huh? All right, this may take 2 hands. Be right back. Oh,
Nice.
all right. We got the stock thermostat out right there. Use some scissors. Yeah, I'll just shake that baby off. You can check it out. The gasket actually stayed in there, so we got to take off the stock gasket because the new one comes with its own. So we're actually going to grab a little coolant, and we're going to just rub it around the gasket so it can slide in there nice and easy. Okay, let's take this one out. Man, that sucker was in there. Okay, then we got a little coolant around the edge. We want to make sure this is at 12 o'clock when we put it back in there. And let's see, that looks good. Just push the edges in. Oh yeah, easy peasy. But yeah, definitely want to go with that coolant move around the edges. Make sure it slides in. But yeah guys, I mean, that's pretty simple, honestly. Let the car cool down for a couple days. I did it for 2 whole days and still got quite a bit of coolant coming out. So if you do, you know, 12 hours, honestly I don't think it's enough. You're probably gonna get a lot of spray. So yeah, we got the new one in there. We're gonna go ahead and bolt it back up, and we should be good to go. So we're gonna leave the bag there, and we're just gonna bolt her back up. So here we go. All right guys, so the torque specs are like 200 inch-pounds or something ridiculous. I don't have a torque wrench that does inch-pounds. So you could just tighten it back up pretty good here. Make sure, you know, it's not coming loose. It's not one of those things that gets too much stress on it to where it's gonna blow open. So just tighten it up real good and you won't have any issues. There's a nice gasket in there keeping it tight. So all right, now we're gonna take the bag of coolant off and dump it back in there with the funnel. All right guys, so we were gonna put the coolant back into the system, but I actually have some debris in the coolant. A bunch of white specks in here. I don't know if that was just from outside falling in here, or it's probably honestly from draining down on the side of the pulleys and stuff and then hitting into the bag. So I'm gonna choose not to put this coolant back into the system because it's a little dirty. We can, you know, we have plenty of coolant in there, it's not an issue. We'll fill it up with some more fresh coolant. For now we're just gonna toss this stuff, but yeah, now we're gonna start up the car, and it should be nice and loud after sitting for 2 days. We're gonna let it heat up, and then wait for the fans to turn on, check that we have coolant running through the thermostat, and this should get hot, this should get hot, and then yeah, we'll take it for a drive, test it out. So let's go. Alright guys, so we got this bad boy started up. We're gonna let that coolant temp run up to 180. We're actually gonna turn the heat all the way up. So we want it to get hot. Alright guys, so we set it 177 for a good 60 seconds, then it popped up to 179, and it has been there for another about 90 seconds. So let's go check the front and check that the coolant is running through the hoses now towards the radiator. My guess is that this is going to be hot. Oh yeah, okay. Yes, that, be careful with the pulleys, as I just touched it earlier, but yeah. We got hot coolant running through here now. Beautiful. It opened up at 180, so that's what we're looking for, guys. We did get a little coolant on our crank pulley down there, just a little bit. We wiped it off with a rag and we were looking good to go. I checked all the pulleys, make sure they're running properly. So we're looking good there. Now we're going to take it for a drive, because it's one thing that you want the thermostat to be opened up. So now it's opened up, but now we're gonna check when we drive that it stays around 180 to 185. So let's go do that. All right guys, so our coolant temp actually hopped over 212. So if you can see it now, it's at 192. Definitely excited that it's coming down from 212, because I was like, what the hell, I just put in another 203 degree thermostat or what, that they labeled 180? But yeah, it's coming down now. It's because I had the heat on so high. Beautiful, look at this thing come down. So that's what we want to see, but now we want to drive it a little bit, because obviously you give it that 707 horsepower, it heats up a little bit. So we're going to make sure that when we drive it comes down. It's at 185 right now. We hope it stays right there. That is beautiful. Now obviously you should have a tune to take full advantage of the thermostat, but we don't want to unlock the PCM just for the thermostat. We want to unlock it when we 1000 horsepower the charger. So first step, we're throwing the 180 thermostat in there. Now it's going to give us benefits, right? We're already at 185, so we're going to have benefits of being cooler. Now if you had a tune to take advantage of it fully, it would be more beneficial. But yeah, we have a 160 thermostat in the redeye, because it's making so much power and heat that we want to make sure that thermostat is open all the time. So on the charger, we're not going to go too crazy with the build, so we're going to throw a 180 in there. And honestly, 180 is fine. There's a debate going on between 180 is too low of a thermostat and you should have a 180 even no matter how much power you're making. I am on the side of 160. If it's open all the time and your radiator works, then what's the problem with having the coolant constantly being cooled down, you know? Some people say it's not in the radiator long enough to be cooled down when you have a 160, but whatever. if the radiator works, it should be fine. So we're looking at 185 right now. We're gonna throw it in track mode, and let's do a couple runs here. Still in the neighborhood, but yeah.
Hit my head. This definitely doesn't have stabilization.
Alright, so we hopped up to 186 there. Come on, radiator. Work your magic, baby. Alright guys, so we've done a couple pulls now, and it's hopped up to 192, which is totally fine. We don't want to go too much higher than that, but yeah, we just hopped up to 194. Now it's about 77 degrees outside, so should not be affecting the coolant temp too much. But yeah, we will do a couple more runs here, see what it gets down to or up to, because if we crack the 200 degree mark, then we know it's working, but it's not that much of an advantage. But if we can do some runs and end up at 192 on the top end of the runs, then that's probably right where we want to be. So the redeye runs somewhere between 180 to 190, depending on how hard I'm pushing it. So can't keep it right at where the thermostat is. It's just when it's going to open up and be cooled down. So yeah, that's how you install a new thermostat right there. Pretty easy. Let's hop out on this road and get a nice little goodbye pull for you guys. But yeah. Oh man, the car still works great. Let me tell you. All right guys, that's all we got for you today. Jordan Lance, Redeye Racing, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.